All right, welcome back, everybody. I've got another ZBrush 4R8 new feature walkthrough here. Wanted to show you the new plugin that comes with ZBrush. If you go into your ZBrush plugins, which I have docked over here, is actually up here for you guys. Or if you go get the UI from my Gumroad page, you can get the same UI layout. If you look under the text shape and vector shapes, or text 3D and vector shapes, you've got this whole new thing right here, and that's how I created this guy here. Let me switch him over to just a polymesh. And if you wanted to do a new text, just click New Text, type in whatever you want. Hello, world. It will create it real quick. If you already have a subtool or a tool that I already selected, it'll create an additional subtool, or you could just hit New Text and just do. There we go. Now this one's by itself here, I think. No, looks like it. Yeah, I created an additional one. Okay. But basically, if you don't have anything selected, it'll create one by itself. So let's go ahead and delete the others. Okay. And frame him out. And there you go. There is your text. It is still editable. You can change the extrusion level. You can change the bevel on it. And you can zoom in and hit polyframe, and you can see what it's doing to that text. You can change the font. So let's go Nim Sim Sun. It's just going to use whatever is on your computer. Now we'll do Myriad Pro, see how that looks. That looks pretty cool. Pretty nifty little tool. Well, I haven't seen a whole lot of people talk about the SVG files, which is, I believe, a standard vector graphic. I could be mistaken, but that's what that stands for. But basically, just like the font, they are basically SVGs, except they're compacted a different way that you can spell stuff out. But if you can actually bring in a vector graphic from another program. So today I wanted to show you how to go about doing that using one of my go-to programs, which is Photoshop. And you're like, Photoshop? Why would I want to do any vector work in Photoshop? Well, it's like I said, it's one of my go-to programs, and I always try to figure out ways to integrate it with another go-to program like Zbrush, which we're in right now. So I was like, well, I know all my shapes are vectors. How do I get them out of Photoshop and bring them into here? So I know a lot of you out there probably have purchased vector clip art and stuff like that for Photoshop, or downloaded some and say, man, that would be a cool one to get into ZBrush and make it do a 3D model. So I'm going to show you real quickly today how you can do that. So let's hop into Photoshop. Open them up. I've got a 2K image opened up here, 2048 by 2048. I want to set up some grids real quick. New guide layout here, and just 4 columns, 4 rows, and that will be sufficient just to help me lock everything into where I need it. Like I said, you know, we all have these little clip arts, or these little custom shapes. You know, I don't have a whole lot of them. I just have the standard ones, and then the ones that I created, you know, like something like this one here. I created this one. You know, it would be really cool if I can get that over into ZBrush. So I'm going to show you how to do that. But first, I thought, well, since I'm here, I might as well show you how I created that little thing inside, you know, pretty much an image editor. But it does have some vector tools. Very limited in comparison to Illustrator, which is just totally vector. But I'll show you all the little workarounds and everything that I did to create that simple little gear. So let's go ahead and we'll start with our ellipse. We're going to go ahead and drag him out. Hold down Shift to constrain it to make sure it's a perfect circle. And I've got snap on right now, so it'll snap to my guides and to the center of the document, so it's perfectly in the center. So I basically know exactly where that center point is, and that's going to come in handy here in a minute. So let's go ahead and draw out our additional parts. So let's draw out the parts that we want to cut out. So I'm going to do a rounded rectangle tool, and I'm going to do like a 50 pixel radius. This way it softens up the corners. And I'm going to draw him out there. I don't need to make him incredibly big. Maybe something like that. And I'm going to go ahead in my properties panel here. And I'm using Photoshop CC 2017. So this trick can probably be done on CS6, CS5, a lot of different ones, because the vector tools really have not been updated in quite a while. So just so you know, you should be able to do most of these tricks in some of the older versions of Photoshop. So I drew out this little guy here. So I am going to drag him and line him up with one of the horizontal or the vertical lines here. And that will be sufficient right there. And now I want to make like an array around the perimeter of this soon-to-be gear. So I'm going to go ahead and do this little trick here. If you do Control T and you try to just click and drag him that anchor point anywhere, and now you'll see your numbers up here have been changed. Plug in 1024, tab it 1024, and then go all the way over to this angle here, and I am going to do 30 degrees, 30. Now we can see it has rotated around the center point of the document, and click confirm. And now if you do Alt, Control, Shift, and then T, it'll make a duplicate all the way around. So we'll keep on doing that until we're all the way around our image here. Okay, so we created him, pretty cool. So those are going to be my cutouts into the circle here. So now what I want to make is some of the cogs, or yeah, the cogs of the gear. So what I want to do, I'm going to make another rounded square. I'm going to make him the whole size of the document here, and you'll see why here in a second. I'm going to change his color to something blue, and grab my transform tool here. I want to get him to the exact dimensions of my document. Doesn't have to, yeah. And then I'm going to use my layout here to help me kind of modify this vector. So what I want to do is hold down, let's see, I think, yeah, it's Control. I'm going to click and drag this point. And if you hold down Shift, it'll constrain it to that horizontal line. And I'm just trying to get it to line up with that one guide right there. Unfortunately, they have not, whenever you do this process, it does not snap to any of your guides, which kind of sucks. So I'm going to do Control, and then grab him, hold down Shift, drag him over, and there we go. So that's just about right. That's about even on both sides there. Now I'm going to go ahead and scale him up, hold down Shift to constrain it. I'm going to put him like dead center there, and then I'm going to do Shift and maybe knock him down, maybe to about there. That's fine. It looks a little funky right now. Don't worry, we'll be okay here. And I think width-wise we should be okay. I'm going to go ahead, hold down your Alt, and this way it grabs both sides. And there we go. Alright, so now let's do the same trick again, alright? Control T. And now make sure you click and drag him first, because if you go in here and try to type the numbers, it will move your object. Okay, but now it knows I want to manipulate the anchor point instead. 1024, 1024. Let's get over to our degrees, and we will do 30 degrees again. And we'll click Commit. So here's our trick. Control, Alt, Shift, T, and then just hold all those buttons down and just keep on tapping the T key. Okay? Alright, so now we have made our shape. We're not quite there yet, but just wait, there's more. Alright, so what we want to do is go over to this direct selection tool, and basically that is our vector tool. And you notice how our lines came up, our control points and angles, all that came up on that one particular guy. So I want to go, he should be right up here. I want to hold down Shift and select all of the outer ones. You want to do the additive process first, okay? So we're adding to the sphere. So now we have all of them selected. Now if you do a Control C, you're actually copying the vector information. And if you go down to the ellipse, and actually what I'll do is I'll turn off, let me turn off the eyeball and all these vectors here. There we go. Go down to the ellipse, still have that little tool on there, and do Control V. Oh, that's so wrong. Control Z. Alright, so let's go ahead and do this again. Let me get all these back on here. Don't know what happened. Okay, we got him. If we do, get all the way up here, Shift, should have everybody selected. If that doesn't happen, just Control drag. There we go. Now we got all the active points. Control C. And we'll turn them all off now so we can see what we're doing. Get down to our ellipse, and this should work now. Control V. Bam. Okay. So we have added it to the ellipse. Okay, great. So what do we do now? So you need to come up to this little path operations up here. It's going to say combine shapes. It's already doing that. But what you want to do is merge shape components. And sometimes you have to do it twice. And there we go. Now if you click on it, boom, it's taken out all the extra geometry in there and just made one vector all the way around. Figured out all the angles for you. Okay, so we should be able to, let me go ahead and get rid of all the cogs there. Done. Okay, so now we just have all the red ones now. So let's go ahead and select that bottom one, go all the way up top. We're going to do a drag again, make sure we got them all selected. Control C. Not going to make the same mistake twice. I'm going to go ahead and turn them all off. Okay, now we go down to ellipse and Control V. Bam. Alright, so you see the vectors in there, but they're not doing anything because right now they're just combined shapes. So now what you want to do is subtract from shape. And then go ahead and merge shape components. If that's still visible, there we go. Once all those disappear and you don't have that option anymore, you should be good. And there you go. There is your brand new cog to send over or to use in, if you wanted, you can go ahead and let's see, go to edit, define custom shape, and we'll just say gear, if I can spell. And there we go. If you go to your custom shapes now, custom shape tool, and you see at the bottom of your list, there's your brand new gear. Looky there. All right. Now you're like, okay, you've shown me how to do this in Photoshop. I'm here to see how to do this in Zbrush. All right, we're almost there. Okay, so go ahead and we're going to delete all these non-essential layers here. Get rid of them. And all you got to do now is do File and go down to Export As. Dialog will open up, or at least on the CC 2017 will, and change the file settings to SVG. So whatever vectors or whatever closed shape vectors are in the document, it will create a SVG file out of it. So we're going to export all of it. I'm just going to throw it up to my desktop. Untitled 1, fine. Yes, replace it. I've done this a couple times, so just testing this out. So now let's go back to Photoshop. Let's update that. So let's go ahead and edit SVG, or you can do new SVG and it'll create a new tool. Let's go up to our quick access. There it is. This should be, nope, that's not it. Let's go desktop, go all the way down, find your SVG file. It's only like 6K, so that's the nice thing about these. They're very small files. Open it up, and there is that cog, and it's still holding on to the old extrusion and resolution that we had on our previous settings there. How cool is that? So it looks like the bevel's a little out of control there, so we're going to just do 10 on the bevel. It'll update. It'll look a lot better on the corners there. Look at that. Look at that. How cool is that? And we'll turn on Polyfill. Check that out. And I like how it makes all the, you've got the front face, and then the bevel, and then the extrusion. They all have their own poly groups. That always comes in handy later. So, and then the backside, it's got its own unique poly groups as well. So if you're happy with that, and let me turn that off, you'll notice that you can't go any higher resolution than that 10. So you'll notice that maybe it's faceted a bit, so it needs more resolution. So what you have to do is go ahead and make it a poly mesh. Okay, so now it's not editable anymore. And then we'll turn Polyfill on. You could do a dynamic subdivision if you do D. And let me turn Polyfill, and see, it's kind of ran into problems there. So because it doesn't have any creasing information. So go into your geometry. Let's see, crease. You could do a quick crease polygroups. So it'll throw a crease around all the polygroups, and that's going to help a lot of it. Not bad at all. It kind of soften up those edges right there. You can also do you can do a crease tolerance of down like 20 degrees, and then crease, and that'll tighten up some of those edges there for you. And look at that. Look at that. Isn't that a thing of beauty? And see, now you can do some interesting things with this if you wanted. You can start doing some Boolean operations, which I think I'm going to do. Go ahead and we'll duplicate. We will do a move. We got our new gizmo tool here. And bring him forward. We'll scale him down. See, we could probably put, yeah, we'll do that. We'll go ahead and make him a negative, turn the start on him, live Boolean. Looking a little crazy there. But we could stretch that out. Look at that. Look at that craziness right there. That's pretty cool. So we can go ahead and do, go under your Boolean operations here, dynamic subdivision, make Boolean. Alright, so we got our unified mesh there. Lots and lots of polygons. Let me turn the line off there so we can see it. We could go down to polygroups. We do auto group here. So anything that's not connected together gets its own group. And then we will hide those, geometry, modify, and delete hidden. There we go. Now it's just that poly. Now it's just this guy right here. Pretty cool. I really think that's a pretty cool feature. Why don't we just, for grins and giggles, we'll throw it into KeyShot. Super fast. And we'll see how it looks. Alright, here we are in KeyShot real fast. Check this out. Let's give him a cool material. My new favorite go-to is this guy down here, tarnished metal in the metal profile here, or in the metal folder. Looks kind of cool out of the box there. I know we can make it look better there. You can see some of the curvature with the wireframe and stuff like that, but we can fix that. We'll just double click it, go to material graph, We'll beef up the, double click the curvature, 5, 5. That will fix that problem. And then the scale on the cracked ice roughness needs to be bumped up to 5. And now we'll get rid of any repeating patterns. So let's swap out our positive with our negative. And let's do chop. Nah, I don't like that one. I like that. There we go. That looks cool. I like that. Change our environment. No. Control, drag around. Pretty cool. Something pretty quick and easy that you can do in no time with Photoshop and Zbrush 4R8 and do a quick render, test it out, see how it looks. I mean, it looks like you took like a ton of time on this, but guess what? You didn't. So quick and dirty and awesome results in less than 25 minutes. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I will try to be back with more soon. Be sure you hit that like button and subscribe, and we will catch you in the next video. We'll catch you guys later.